Hello and welcome to Wrestleopinionated. This is our weekly show all about the shows of AEW. We are your hosts. I am Morg and this is...
Forgot to prepare a witty sobriquet, Matt Strange, and this is...
Watches cops with no pants on, Muir.
Oh!
You've been outdone, Strange.
I even know what it is. It's the lyrics from Mope by the Bloodhound Gang. Playing Spin the Bottle. With my mom, I watch cops with no pants on. Good lad. I did declare it was Bloodhound Gang the other day, and we fell back into the late 90s/early 2000s for some musics.
Oh, I might have to do that. I've been a bit lax on listening to music in general in recent years.
Oh, no, Morg, you need to get back onto it. I constantly have music on, but sometimes I like to branch away from, only brass instruments and Hawaiian shirt songs.
Oh, I have succumbed to the terror that is audiobooks, you see.
Oh, yeah, so... you're like that. Muir's a listener.
Yeah,
Fucking hell, I like book.
Muir like book.
Yeah.
Like when the men fight.
I like when the men fight and they do the chopper.
Big kick.
So, welcome to our wrestling podcast, listeners.
Welcome to our wrestling podcast. If this is the first time you've listened to it, you would need to know that we have a tier list, and it is actually a podcast about wrestling, and not just three guys talking crap for an hour and a half.
It's both.
Well, yeah.
Give me a chance.
But generally we try to talk crap about wrestling. As such, we have a tier list, which is how we give our scores and thoughts on the individual matches of Dynamite, overall of BTE, Dynamite, and this week we are going to return back to Dark. We are leaving Dark Elevation behind. I tried to watch it, guys. So, Mr. Strange, for our new listeners, explain the tier list, and for those who've listened before, put a spin on it.
It's letters saying how good things are in order. You all know a good tier list. We'll be working up from our lowest rank to the highest rank, like in all good scales. And this week, to keep it on a wrestling theme, I'll also be tiering illegal weapons used in wrestling.
Okay.
Yeah, hardcore, sort of hardcore weaponry, shall we start? So our lowest rank is a D.
Mate.
D is a D is a bad match. You've not had a good time. Maybe it's been a squash. Maybe there's no story. Maybe it was just a fucking botch fest. And my D rank weapon, a weapon you should never bring to a wrestling ring, is a king cobra called Lucifer.
What about a table? You only ever go through your own tables. Come on.
You do that if it's in the corner, but
yeah.
Don't use dangerous animals in the carnival industry in the 70s, or they'll just die. From there, we have a C rank match. This is what we like to call an average match or a good match. We expect to be entertained enough. Sure, you might have some slips. Sure, it might not have all the story, but you know why people are there. You've had a good time watching it. Your average match, like the average weapon used in wrestling, the steel chair. The humble concussor, the wonderful weapon of setting the standard. That's what we want a C match to be. A steel chair in a hardcore match. From there, we rock up to our B, what we like to call match plus one. It's got just that little bit more of everything. The wrestling's just that little bit crisper and tighter. There's definitely a bit of story. You care why the people in the ring. It's just match plus one. Like Mick Foley as Mankind hitting The Rock with a giant bag of popcorn. Wonderful. This is not our only Mick Foley entry in this list, but that's what we want. Just a step above in entertainment for a B rank match. From there, we rock up to an A. An A is, you're probably a match of the night, hopefully. It's got fucking everything. There's no botches. It's crisp. It's clean. You know why the wrestlers are in the ring. You know the story. You know it going out at the end, hopefully. It's just the best thing you've seen in quite some time. It's that thing that sets the standard. Like Mick Foley as Dude Love hitting a man with an entire kayak in ACW. What a wonderful choice of weapon.
This leaves me with a conundrum to what the top weapon is, because I can think of two things which I'd put as number one now.
An S-rank match is the thing you only see once in a while. It's those yearly showstoppers that you talk about for ages. You send gifts to your mates. It's got luchadors. It's got Japanese ninjas. It's got whatever you need every episode. S-rank matches stand above. Maybe they're an overly cinematic match like the Stadium Stampede. Maybe it's just something fucking awesome like Mankind versus The Undertaker. Maybe it's Kota Ibushi running over people in a go-kart.
Oh God, it's not even one of the two I was thinking of.
Oh, what were you going to go with?
Either
What are your
the
S-ranks?
electrocution baseball bat with barbed wire.
Oh, Tam's electrocuted
bat.
baseball. Oh, that's pretty strong. Yeah, it's not
Or
a
just
go-kart
that
though.
That one time that girl just brought the fucking M16 to the match.
Oh yeah, it took an M. There was that one no DQ match in a women's match in Eve, I think it was, where one of the lasses just went and got Kota Ibushi out of the crowd.
I'm
Wow.
surprised it wasn't Chucky's hand grenade.
Oh,
Oh,
no,
I
that's
love the
used
Chucky
in-
England.
That's not used in hardcore matches.
Oh,
That's just
fine,
any-
That's in regular matches.
Quickly, you
There
know
was
the
Go on.
popcorn that you mentioned.
Yeah.
That was Mick Foley and Owen Hart's joke thing they used to do to pop the boys.
Oh really?
Yeah. And they
The
used to
reference I found was for it was in a rock match.
Yeah, that originally it was Mick Foley and Owen Hart fucking about at house shows.
I'd like to give the props to the people in ECW who took a whole kayak just in case somebody would take it off them and hit another wrestler with it. They bought an entire kayak to be used in a hardcore match. Wonderful. But anyway, that's the tier list. D, bit shitty. C, good. B, very good. A, awesome. S, fucking Kota Ibushi firing air rifles at people in a park. And other DDT things. Right.
So,
back to you, Morg.
moving on. Time for the news. Not a lot this week, though we've got something that's quite hot off the presses. Allegedly,
Ooh.
Dubsy looking at more releases or firings. Probably going to be from NXT UK by the sounds of things. It's the one brand.
Oh, more
that
indie
hasn't been
shitters?
hit yet. Yeah.
Oh, NXT UK. Oh, wicked. That could be more for Ring. We need Ring of Honor to be big again, boys, so Joe Hendry can be famous. Just saying.
I mean, I'd
He's
love
great.
them to go to Ring of Honor, but you know that Tony Khan's just going to be getting his fucking Hoover out, just gathering them up.
Oh, AEW is moving from TNT to TBS, I believe. That's news.
Yes.
Oh,
correct.
that's
Should have
big
remembered
news.
this. And they're going to be going to a Friday. Is that true?
Oh, please
Or
no.
have I made that bit up? I know.
Head to head with.
I think
but
that's
it-
just this week. It's going to Friday for
Yeah, it's this week they're doing
Uh,
a Friday special.
Ace.
But yeah, they're moving from TNT to TBS. They are just continuously rolling up money making and stuff. So obviously the media world has faith in AEW.
Well, they signed a new
Cody-
contract for that instead of it being an extension to the other contract. The only thing I find funny is the TNT belt, obviously.
Oh, the TBS belt.
Well,
Finally.
my
Aw.
concern is going to TBS. Isn't that
Hope it's TBS, I'm
Moneybags
checking.
10? Isn't that where WCW was?
The,
I thought
the
it was on
cursor-
TNT.
I
because-
thought it was on TNT because that's why TNA was on TNT.
Oh, God. Who knows?
Who knows?
It was before my time. I didn't have Sky or anything.
And Strange, you said you had a piece of news as well that you just think's a piece of bullshit about Mr. Bryan.
Oh, Daniel Bryan is no longer on contract and could be. It's possible that he is released and could go to AEW. But on the other hand, I know the Young Bucks don't like working with Daniel Bryan because he's a little bit stiff for them. There's a video. There's a video of him chopping Nick Jackson on the turnbuckle, and Nick Jackson just shoves him off and goes, "Would you stop?" Or that's
Like-
enough, or something like that.
And then he beat up Matt afterwards because of it. It's a bit crazy.
Did he really?
Yeah, in the middle of the ring.
Just send him to Japan. It's where he deserves to be. I love you, Daniel Bryan. I think you're a very good wrestler, but you obviously deserve to be in the place where. Oh no, his neck's not strong enough for Japan anymore, is it?
No, please
Oh,
don't go
no.
to Japan.
Don't go to Japan, Daniel Bryan.
Don't go the way of the Will Ospreay.
My thoughts will be Ring of Honor.
I mean, if they can, but seeing as Ring of Honor basically funded AEW's existence, it would be nice if they got a bit of a push, shall we say?
Anyway, so yeah, not a lot of news this week, and nothing particularly earth-shattering. Social media, anything from you, Mr. Strange?
All of social media has been about Brian Pillman Jr. and Brian Pillman because of the Dark Side of the Ring episode released by Vice. Please follow official sources or whatever, but I watched it all on YouTube, and like the previous, the Dark Side of the Ring series is really good, and we've been showing our mate who doesn't watch or particularly understand wrestling, and even he finds it fascinating of this.
It's interesting, even if you're not a wrestling fan, just how ridiculous the industry is.
Yeah, it's like the 80s stock market coke-fueled documentaries just about wrestlers, and it's the story of Pillman, his many models he slept with, apparently, his manipulation of the industry. Obviously, Brian Pillman Jr.'s got a moment in that. You learn about his connection, where he got into wrestling. So really interesting, and it's probably why Brian Pillman's Jr. is getting a bit of a push. Well worth a watch and well worth a nose into, I'd say.
Cool. Right, so moving on, it's that time of the week where me and Muir have a pleasant time and Strange has to watch some form of Dark. It's time for the reviews, and we open up, as always, with BTE, or Being the Elite.
Alrighty then. Right. So this one starts off with another bit that should have been on Dynamite, with CD talking about retirement. And, it was a really solid promo, talking about the bit where Dusty Rhodes talked about retiring himself. And it was just really good. I'm just baffled why this stuff's never on the show, but Jade Cargill can get a segment every week. Just seems a bit weird to me when...
Yeah. CD is like a legacy member of what they've essentially founded. Yeah, right. I'm with you.
It just always seems a bit weird to me why they don't bother putting this on the show when it could be, very good for the interconnective storytelling. Then we move on to the Bucks complaining that they had a fan that just kept getting things signed for them. And then they had issues with...
I was kind of down with that, if I'm honest.
No, I'm with him. Fuck that guy. If you're there every day bothering them, fuck off, mate. It's ridiculous. And it's just all about their travel woes, because they had some issues with their traveling this week, apparently. Then we clipped to the stadium to show them testing the bubbly cannon out. That was quite fun.
I'm glad it was confirmed it was a bubbly cannon, because I still didn't pick up on that the week before.
Then we move on to the Hollywood Hunk quiz with Matt Sydal, where you were meant to know who the sexy cowboy on Jimmy Kimmel was. Obviously, it was the Hollywood Hunk.
I quite liked this and the other one. I thought this was I don't know, for all the piss I took out of him at the start, he's really won me over,
He's screaming.
He's got charisma, that lad.
I liked him screaming. It was on my IMDb as he left, which made me laugh. Then we had a Private Party Matt Hardy bit. If anyone cares about this, please add anything you want here. Dark Order are bad.
I don't remember it.
Lol. Yeah,
whatever.
Then we move on to the other Hollywood hunk. Yeah, then we move on to the other Hollywood hunk bit, which is another question about himself. He gets angry.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's Jake Paul, not him, and then he storms off again. Then we move on to the bit that gave me a good chuckle, was Peter Avalon holding the Catcher in the Rye before going up to Leva Bates to go obviously offer her a book. And it was, a book that was banned in America because it was seen as causing mass shootings and stuff like that. So, a bit more of an edgy joke than normal on Be the Elite.
I like how you noticed the book. Yeah, that joke was for you, Nick.
I know. It's sad, isn't it? And then she leaves with Reynolds because he wants his social media help. Obviously, the more jock man she leaves with, standard, that sort of humour.
Yeah.
Then we move on to the Bucks just going on about retiring SCU.
Oh, yeah.
And then we go to the Elite
Yeah.
cam, which made me laugh because it was Anderson just screaming that he's going to try and scissor someone during the match. You know, throwing back to the Elite symbol, how they thought that it was scissoring someone, which I thought was good. Then we had a huge recap of the Bucks versus SCU match, which was really good. And then we had Matt backstage trying to clean the blood off his shoes, which made me laugh because, you know, they go on about those shoes so much. Then a bit I really didn't care for, which was Ryzen doing confessions. This dragged on for me.
Yeah, it was a bit of a strange one. Not as good as them mugging people.
No, because it was just the same joke over and over again, but it was obviously played out, so I just didn't enjoy that much. Then we moved on to the Dark Order having a picnic. Hangman had brought a spoon for Taz so he could eat his ass, which made me laugh. They forgot to get any food, obviously, because it's the Dark Order. They then had to pray for the strength to beat these fucking pussies when complaining about all the factions they're at war with currently. Then after they find out they had no food, Stu just screams about needing 4,000 calories a day, which always makes me laugh. Then
I love Stu. He's like my rising favourite.
Yep, but then thankfully Silver had some honey, and then Bear Country came in to steal the honey, which is ludicrous.
Oh yeah. It's Bear Bronson of Bear Country as well.
Yeah.
Give me that honey. Wonderful.
So then we move on to the Elite for the final bit, which is they bring out Sour Boys again from Anderson pulling the Sour Boys face. Still don't get this reference, but it does make me laugh, the silly face he pulled. Maybe that's how simple
I wonder if
am.
he just eats sour sweets in a weird way, and they find it funny. Maybe it is.
Maybe
no
it's just an inside joke for them, you know, but it made me laugh anyway. Then we had Gallows screaming about how it smells like shit in here and his Vince impersonation of "it's gonna puke," which made me laugh.
He's gonna puke.
And then the Bucks go on about how
Vince impression.
Yeah. And the Bucks go on about how this is a holy place and they shouldn't be swearing. So Gallows just goes around in the background singing Hallelujah, which made me laugh. It was good. I enjoyed this being the Elite. It was quite funny and it had some good bits on it. Like I said, there were some bits that should have been on the show, like the SCU bits. Well, more the CD bits, but you know, it was solid. I gave it a B.
Yeah, I'm with you. I was mostly entertained, and there were some cool
Funny
story bits. I wish I had a 6'8" Carney mate to roam around me, acting like a 6-year-old at all times.
It'd be funny for the first week.
It's definitely a wrestling show. I've got to admit, the Elite bit left me a bit cold at the end. I just didn't really.
Yeah, fair.
I just didn't really get it. But I love the Peter Avalon story. Like you said,
he's just the best.
Week.
We've been saying this since the start.
It's like you said last week. Why is it that Peter Avalon gets all the best BTE stories?
He makes all the best BTE stories, I'm guessing. You know,
and I still like anything with the Dark Order, even though that was just pure stupidity. The Dark Order are just a bunch of kids now. That is official.
My only issue is tarnishing Hangman at this stage because he's just hanging out with these goofs. You know, if he's going to be the next champ at some point.
The thing is, it's really weird because I've said this before. You know that we have things like the Christopher Daniels promo, which I thought was absolutely stellar.
It was great.
That was a high A. That was a really good promo, emotional and just
It went on a bit too long at the end. Like he could have stopped before he started like crying in the corner. I think it would have been more emotional that way.
Yeah,
but maybe just me.
Maybe just you have him going to that bit and then cutting it just with him sitting in that corner. I think you're right. But the problem is, that we can get away with not having that on Dynamite if BTE is this thing you're supposed to watch to get bits of the other stories.
All the story,
but if you're gonna make the Dark Order a bunch of goofs, the problem is on the show on Dynamite they they're kind of a bit goofy, but they're badass goofy, if that makes sense. You know, they're Hangman's backup crew, and they're a strong faction to back Hangman up. So yeah, I see what you mean. It is a bit strange.
You've got to decide where the line's drawn between
Yeah.
BTE and the actual statting on the show and everything, but, you know,
Yeah.
for minor criticism.
But yes, I agree. I think it was a B. I think I enjoyed it. So, Mr. Strange.
Is it? Oh,
how
one
was
second.
your week?
Let me have a delicious sip of this water.
Of not watching Elevation, and this week having to go back to Dark, which was your own choice.
You know what? I got up to watch Dark this week, this morning. In fact, I clicked it on. I saw 1 hour 55, and I went, "Oh no!"
Not too bad for
And
Dark. It's not 3
it
hours.
was all right. It was remarkably refreshing. Were some of the winners of the matches too obvious? Yes. Was it still a bit too long? Yes. But just hearing a commentary team who like each other and make jokes about things, it filled my soul with joy. And I don't even have that many commentary comments. Like, I generally ignore commentary unless they've done something particularly dumb. But I think over the last few weeks, I've criticised Tony Schiavone and Beeg quite a lot. So no criticism this week, but we'll skim through Dark. I've done it in a slightly different order. We're going to get the Annihilations out the way. These are the squash matches. Hobbs took on Dean Alexander. He got in 2 punches, then Hobbs won. Comoroto annihilated some guy called Alamis with some minor counter-offense. Nyla Rose took on Tekka Rahaka, who I've mentioned a few times now, and it's been pointed out to me she looked like the girl who plays Batista in Max Landis' Wrestling Isn't Wrestling, and I can't deal with that anymore. But Nyla smashed her. Next thing, promos. We had some promos. Matt Hardy did some stuff about the Dark Order and how they've got no leader now and they're going to be smashed, whatever. Lance did a quite cool promo in a dark room with a swinging light saying Lancey things.
Yep.
The Acclaim did a rap where they ripped on Mox and Eddie. They said they were going to send Eddie back to Chikara, which made me laugh. Jungle Boy did an advert for Double or Nothing. He's still not very exciting. And Velvet did a promo for a Deeb match, which was standard stuff. So that's all the side stuff. On to the regular matches. Evil Uno and Colt Cabana took on Vanish and Mitchell, who I've never seen before. Bit of solid comedy fun from them. Bit more one-sided, don't get me wrong, but it was a good chuckle. They're a fun team. They obviously weren't. Benoni took on Marco. Not a lot of chemistry between them. I couldn't deal with strong Marco again, but Benoni won. Oh. Weird. Didn't like it. What?
Oh, Marco just makes me sick.
Makes me sick.
Yeah.
Sonny Kiss took on Serpentico. Oh. Big fun match, a lot of cool moves, some comedy. They've got a lot of chemistry together. Sonny, although we were a bit critical at the start, has really improved. Serpentico won after a cheeky punt kick from Luther. It was probably my favourite up until that point. I quite liked that match. Red Velvet and Swole defeated Vert Vixen and Allure in a match. Kylan came out with Velvet and Swole, though, for their entrance and stood with them. So we might actually get a woman's stable, would you believe?
Madness. I don't believe you.
I know. A women's face stable. Actually, I was like, this could be quite cool. Solid enough match. Both teams look good, and there's some exciting possibilities there. You know, listen to my positivity compared to Elevation. Griff defeated Dean Russman, new person. Was alright, bit of offense both ways. Griff still reads as a little green, but it was a fine mid-cardy match. I didn't hate it. Didn't resent my time like a lot of Elevation matches. Matt Sydal took on Marty the Moth. Not Marty the Moth, just Marty in this universe. And won, obviously, before his other match. Marty's got himself some Mortal Kombat style ring gear, so I think he's staying. He's actually got like a design on him. Fine match. Bit mid-cardy, you know. It's nice to see Marty's keeping the crazy man, punching his head gimmick and stuff.
I want to see old school. It'll be a heel versus heel match and will suck, but I want to see Marty Cassous. I think it's Marty Cassous versus Miro. Because I think those two would have one hell of a brawl.
Oh yeah, it's good to have some proper brawlers coming in now. We had like a phase of no many real brawly people, and then we got Miro, Moddy, Eddie, just sort of bleep bleep coming out. But I'm with you. Statlander defeated Diamante. This was quite an interesting matches. It was exciting and quite fast, but wasn't quite much comfort between the two of them. Like there were a few sort of near botches. Um, things that didn't quite work. It had a lot of heart, had a lot of energy, and thus I quite liked it, but a little bit botchy, shall we say. Not quite as smooth as I'd have liked. Morales was defeated by Angelico. Morales got some offense. Everybody seems to give Morales some offense. I've watched him on Elevation a few times, and people actually, they seem to like him. He's getting a bit more over than you expect from a lot of jobbers. Little slow for me otherwise the match, but I say that about Angelico a lot. I'm not really as
Not
a fan of his style.
Like, no.
Yeah, nobody knows how to wrestle him. Not the best match, but it was a match. And finally, Pillman defeated Luther. Solid enough match, not that exciting. More classic match, because Luther obviously can't do that much. But it was alright. But, like, I watched all this, that's it. That's the show. I can't say...
promos. That's really weird. Why doesn't Elevation have...
It had promos, the commentary team.
Yeah.
And I only listed out 3 squash matches. Everybody else got some offense in, or at least looked good. This was more elevating than anything I've watched on Elevation lately.
Real.
And it's not the top names again. It's, the upper mid-card names fighting lower mid-cardy names and stuff. So either way, I had a good time. I would... It was an enjoyable dark, and I am pleased I watched it instead of Elevation.
Oh, you can carry on doing whatever you want.
Yeah. There you go, boys. How do you feel about that? The happiness from me.
I know. I'm quite shocked. Right. Moving on. Time for the big one. Time for Dynamite. Opens as always, JR, Shivani, Excalibur. Taz joins them on commentary for the first match. Christian Cage versus Matt Sydal. Christian wins with the kill switch. Thoughts and scores on the match itself.
We'll start with the fact I still hate the kill switch. I'm going to say that every single time.
That's fair.
This was good. It had a classic wrestling start. We get to see all the cool stuff. Sydal can pull off all manner of things like standing ranas and stuff like that. Christian did a really cool counter where Matt Sydal went for his moonsault off the middle rope, and Christian just kicked the rope, and I thought that was fucking great and well timed. I'd say it was a good match with some great moves, some brilliant counters, and some brilliant counter wrestling, but I can't say I cared.
No.
I'd say it was solid if uninspiring. Wrestling-wise, it could have plausibly been match +1. It could have been a B if I'd have cared, but I think just for lack of real reason for it, it was a good C. Like, I was entertained. I enjoyed the wrestling.
High C.
Yeah, high C. But that's about as far as I think I can go with it, if I'm honest.
I liked this match. I enjoyed this match, but I didn't care about this match, like you said. There was no reason to care. It's just a weird open, contract thing, which is never going to be that exciting unless there's some sort of belt on the line or something interesting, some sort of step to get it going. My favorite part of this match was somebody commenting that Christian Cage was 6'3", and Taz going, asking how tall Christian Cage was, and Taz went 6'3", 1 inch shorter than I am, which made me fucking pissed.
I love Taz.
He's so stupid. It's great. It was a good babyface versus babyface match, as best as it can be. I just don't care about Matt Sydal. He's solid enough, but...
Tamil Tiger gimmick. Evil Buddhists. Evil.
Oh, I thought he's facing this match. They're all handshakes and all that shit.
I know, I'm with you. But
I get you.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Right, anyway, it was solid enough. I gave it a high C. But, there just wasn't enough story of interest to make it more for me.
So it looks like we're all on the same page. High C for me. C+.
Wrestling good.
Yeah.
Story lazy.
Wrestling good. Story. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Following on from that, Ricky Starks comes out, cuts a quick promo, then Team Taz run in, attack Cage and Seidel. Paige comes in for the save and then gets blindsided by Hook. Any comments on the continuation of this story?
I like the Hangman
Ricky's
save
face.
where he gave Taz the beer when he came out.
He passed Ricky Starks his drink, and he looked
Ricky Starks the beer.
yeah,
Sorry,
and he
not
looked
Taz.
so
Yeah.
offended. It was great. Hangman is great.
Yeah.
Hangman versus Cage sort of back and forth was pretty good. I'm excited to see where it goes, and I'm intrigued to see Cage as a mini boss for Hangman, as it were, on his slow rise up the card. Good.
Following on from that, Varsity Blondes promo. Thoughts?
They've got a cheerleader now. Basic good baby stuff, things solid enough for their age and the gimmick. Probably more over in America than here.
I want them to be wholesome chads, though. I don't want them to become like evil, like sports guys. I want them to be like wholesome boys.
Yeah, wholesome like the sports club from Mob Psycho.
Yeah, exactly. I want them to be good guy, like, beefcakes, instead of, because how always portrayed as them being evil, the college jock. I want them to stay good guys, basically. But I think it was a nice build for their stable, and it got them all over. And seeing as they're all very young, I think it was good. I like Gris' bit about how he worked, the Young Bucks' stand for their merch and stuff like that. I thought that was really good. Good storytelling.
Nothing more to add. It was a
comfy see.
It was a comfortable promo. They didn't.
It was a steel chair of a promo.
Yeah.
They didn't do bad.
Following on from that promo, we moved on to another promo. We had Mox and Kingston and an Acclaimed promo. Thoughts on these?
I wrote down lunatic cringe, lol, and fine. I think this was an alright little section. I'd have gone with the full rap from Dark personally, but yeah, it was alright. Gives us a
solid. I always love Mox's and Kingston's interactions bodily with each other, like how they stand with each other and react to each other.
The married couple.
Yeah, there are a lot of body motions with them, sort of things. It's not all just talk. There's sort of, gesturing and stuff like that. I thought it was good. It's solid, and the lunatic cringe bit made me laugh, so I have to give it, it was solid.
Just you saying that has made me realise that, yes, I think one of the reasons we like both their, or certainly something that I think is that both they don't just stand there and corpse go, I am cutting a promo. Obviously, they're much more charismatic than that. They move, and I love the way that Mox moves around, and I like it when he's pacing around in the background, or just Kingston, or being goofy. And I think they get a very good balance between badass and goofy. I'm really liking this team. So following on from
Stop stealing shoes.
We have Mox and Kingston versus the Acclaimed. Mox and Kingston win with an elevated paradigm shift. Your thoughts and scores?
I wanted this to be a lot better than it was.
I wanted to be the only negative on this.
I can't say I hated it. We get the standard thing. The Acclaimed come out rapping. Max eats shit for ages because of things he said. We got limb work. We got some good submissions. But Bowens' submission, the height of fame, is great. But they didn't have a lot of chemistry together, did they? There wasn't. Eddie then ate shit for fucking ages, which did give a great hot tag for Mox. And, I've been critical of Mox before, but Eddie ate shit for a long time. I quite like the no cheating versus cheating little exchange at the end with a bunch of, the chains and the boombox and the throwing things. I thought that was quite fun. I think the wheelbarrow into paradigm shift isn't great.
No,
I'm afraid to say. It doesn't add a lot to the movie for me, but as I said, it had everything necessary. We had a little bit of story. I'd give it a middling low C, shall we say. I wanted a lot more, and that might have tarnished me. Bowen's got to look good, Mox got to look good, Max and Eddie mostly ate shit. It was alright.
Yeah. I always feel like this match just felt like it just needed to happen, just to go, yay, they're now higher in the scoreboard, you know? I don't think this match benefited either team. I don't think it made Mox and Kingston look better, and I don't think it really hurt the Acclaimed because, you know, they're not, you know, top tier. They weren't going to beat Mox and Eddie.
They haven't won clean at all.
I like the whole they use one of their distractions to be a distraction for the real real like cheating. I always like that. I think that's, you know, solid. But that needs to connect at some point because it always fails. But yeah, it was solid enough. It was a C. I think it was just too obvious, you know, like there was no reason for this match other than that AEW have scoreboards, you know?
Yeah, I'm with you.
It's a shame it's a shame that you two are giving it a C. I gave it a B. I really fucking enjoyed this match. It was
really?
Great. I thought it was just fun. I liked great heel work, great babyface work. I liked the fact that you talk shit about Moxie's wife, you get the shit kicked out of you for the next 10 minutes. And I liked that because it's like very much on point of Moxie's character.
Her podcast oral sessions that she didn't want taking out of her, mate. I'm just saying.
Yes, but you know, you know, the I liked that. I liked the switching and the cheating to cheat. You're right though. The wheelbarrow paradigm shift. No, don't use that as your tag team finisher. No.
What, Eddie? You know better than that.
It doesn't add anything to the move.
Yes, you do a paradigm shift from higher up, but actually, the paradigm shift looks cooler because of the way that Mox sort of picks you up when he does it, so it doesn't look like a standard DDT. So yeah, that was a bit disappointing. But yeah, I really enjoyed this match. I had a great time. It was just a good face versus heel match with a good beat down on a face. It was. To be fair, I'm probably talking it into a C myself here now. If you know what I mean. I am talking it into a C because it was solid. It was
It's what I expect from AEW.
Yeah, a solid wrestling match. So moving on from there, quick Chris Jericho backstage interview.
Oh, I love this.
Oh, it made me laugh so much.
Yeah.
You still know 4 more holds than me.
That was so good.
I forget what else happened. That's the only thing I got. And that gave me a proper.
Sad and said I forgot some, which was really, you know, like heartfelt because you know they're both old wrestlers and they're just, you know, a bit past their prime. Liked it.
It's just a lovely little old joke with a little bit. I forget what actually set this up, but the continuity and just that joke for the 2 old boys, wonderful.
Do you want the what it was? Do you want the story?
I know the story.
Dean Malenko was the man of 1,000 holds, and Chris Jericho was the man of 1,004 holds. And if you can find it, it is one of Jericho's greatest promos, and all he does throughout the promo is shout "armbar." Pretty much.
So good.
It is really
I just
good.
love the old throwback.
Moving on from there, Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky for an in-ring interview. Then the lights go out. Sting and Darby attack Sky and Page. Dark Order come out to stop Page and Sky from leaving through the stage exit. Thoughts on this little segment?
I'm glad they explained where Sting was last week. He was out with his leg or whatever, because I was wondering. Solid 8 is shouting, if a little long. Why does All Ego Ethan Page hate Darby? Like, I'm down with it. I just like a reason. Then it went Dubsy Dub. Sting for new Dark Order leader? Dunno. Can't say I hated it. Can say it should have been a little shorter. It was alright. Can I have a soundbite, Morg? Set me up.
It's alright.
Yeah.
There we go.
I don't even have notes on this. That's how well I've done, boys.
It's just you and me, Morg. What are we giving it? What did you think?
Yeah, to be fair, I know the Raptor enjoyed it. It was a very unfortunate moment when somebody got hit in the face with a skateboard by their own fault by accident. I think it was Sky. It was the Raptor that spotted it. Yeah, it was alright. I like the lights out. Yeah, I'm always gonna pop for the lights going out and then coming back up.
It's your favourite.
Somebody there, yeah. It's my thing. But yeah, it was all right. It did what it needed to. It gave the baby faces some revenge, and I don't think it hurt anybody because they had a good beatdown on the other guys
No.
previously. This is looking like a better 50-50 fight with Sting and Darby versus Paige and Scorpio Sky,
Oh,
actually.
I forgot Sting's going to be in a live match.
Oh
Oh
God,
no,
no!
it's going to be like Tully.
Oh,
It's not going to be as
God.
bad. Tully was
To be
wicked. I take
fair,
that back.
I appreciate it was like 4 years ago, but the last time Sting was in a live match, it was fine.
Yeah.
How was his
4
neck
years
at that point in time?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was all right until Seth
Was he
Rollins
buckle
buckle
bombed
bombed
at that
him.
point? Yeah.
That's the problem, isn't it? That's that little thing.
Yeah, but it's quite specific. It is Seth Rollins and the buckle bomb, you know.
Yeah, fair. It's like being in any match with Nia Jax. Right.
Yeah. Moving on. She's injured most girls. Pinnacle segment. Any thoughts?
Pinnacle, ain't it?
Bald FTR is winning me over.
He is great with that stupid mustache he's grown as well. It's beautiful.
Yeah, mate. I quite like Spears being a psycho.
Yep.
Wardlow downing a bottle of red wine.
What?
Yeah, solid enough. I got the premise of them. I can't say I was massively listening to what MJF actually said at the start about being the best at things. I was more sort of enjoying taking in their characters in the scene.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Yeah, I kind of enjoyed it. I think it was solid enough and gave us, more of an example of who they are.
Yeah, it was solid sea work, wasn't it? You know, I enjoyed it enough. It builds up the Four Horsemen a bit more, you know. I mean, the Pinnacle. Sorry.
The Six Horsemen.
I had one of those moments in watching this, where I was like, Wardlow just stole the show in the first 5 seconds. As good as everything else was, and as good as...
When Wardlow's on screen, he draws the scene anyway. You may as well let him take it.
But it was just that with the bottle of wine and that. He stole me. But that's what you want from your faction.
Who is this giant handsome man in the corner?
Yeah.
You know, you can't help
God,
it.
he's such a chad.
It was like in the old Nation of Domination. It might have been all the other guys cutting the promo, but your eye was drawn towards the new rookie that they just recruited, The Rock. So yeah, this to me was good, and I didn't realize how good a promo. I think it's Dax. Is it Dax No Hair?
Bald.
Bald.
Just call him Bald.
It's Cash.
Bald FTR.
No, it is Dax. No, it's Dax. It is Dax. You're right.
Following on from that,
we know a lot about wrestling.
Rebel
why
with
not?
Britt Baker versus Shida. Shida wins with the stretch muscular, and then Britt jumps Shida. Nobody saw that coming. Thoughts and scores?
I've got one comment about
2 minutes, 3 seconds. Go on.
This match won't last long by JR.
2 minutes, 3 seconds. That's an 8-second gain on last week's
That's Christ.
match. Even for the 2 minutes 3, I had enough time to take in the fact they didn't have any chemistry together. I'm just writing down a D. If anybody wants to try to disagree with me, I'll
I'm
fight
wrong.
you.
Morg, anything?
No one.
Yeah,
No,
I gave
fair.
it a low C, and I think I was just being nice because Rebel got some offense in at the beginning. But yeah, I didn't realize it was
He's
that
a trained
short.
wrestler.
Yeah, I
She's
didn't
a
realize it
great
was
wrestler. She was, pretty good.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was.
She has a
that
huge
short.
following on the internet.
So yeah, I'm not going to
Yep,
argue that
2 minutes
away
3.
in
Let's
the
just
slightest.
roll on.
Okay, moving over. Next, we had Kenny Omega and Cassidy segment.
Good patronising shit. The really slow paper tear.
Yep.
Nice little threats at the end, actually. Quite good threat and stuff. I actually quite like this, I'm thinking about now. It had humour, it showed our conniving villains, and then it showed them being menacing, proper like high school bully stuff.
Yep.
I liked it. I didn't rank it. I should probably give it a B now I'm talking it back. But yeah,
That lad are going to beat up Kenny.
we know the women are too powerful to fight the men.
Yes.
We
Yeah,
know
you
it.
You want Statlander to beat up Don Callis.
No, Kenny. No, this was good. I really enjoyed this. It was the kind of character work that should be done with Orange. It's hard because his gimmick's really good, but you don't want to ruin the gimmick. So it's you've got to do a lot of juggling with it, and I thought this was really well done. It was just, slowly ripping up the contracts in front of them and just ignoring their threats, basically, which will probably punish him later on, but we know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
After that, we had the Inner Circle in-ring segment. Any thoughts?
It was all a little bit high school theatre again, wasn't it? Whenever I see like a few of these stand out and talk at the crowd moments, I think I'm so used to seeing a lot of their characters interact so organically that it just feels a bit like when you saw a high school play. That's just on me.
Yeah.
Solid enough, if a bit shit, but in a fine way, if that makes sense, with that high school sort of bollocks to it. Hager was the worst. Jericho was obviously the best. It was Jericho, then Ortiz, then Sammy, then Hager in order of skill. Tailed off at the end, but he did say he'd get to beat the piss out of them. So I think if I was viewing it as something that I took as like a proper section, it would probably be a C. But for the weird like high school shittiness of it, I still gave it a B.
Yeah,
B, mate. Come on.
Go on, Muir.
What?
Just repeating the same stuff over and over at this point. I think we could have given this a miss and had, like Christopher Daniels on the show instead.
All right, yeah, fair.
And
I'll give it a C.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was solid enough.
You have to look at what they could have had on the show as well.
Yeah,
what they
that's
show us
true.
in BTA.
Yeah. Following on from that, Jade Cargill promo.
I love Lawyer Man. I hope she keeps him. I quite liked I Want to Work for You. I think she would be I said this last week and the week before. I think he'd be a great sniveling minion.
Yeah.
And we know he can take a bump.
And yeah, exactly. We know he's got some wrestling training, which means she can fuck him about and stuff. Didn't rank it because it's more see where this goes, but I think they've got a strong basis for making me care about this. Bit like how we hated the Dark Order and Hangman at the start,
Yeah.
Oh my god, are we going to absolutely love Jade Cargill in a year's time?
And how well she improved.
Probably.
I mean, it'd be great if we did. I mean, that's not a bad thing.
No, it's
I have
just
faith.
I feel like she should be on Dark or something else. I don't think that she should be on the main show. Because, like I said, if they can't get that segment of Christopher Daniels on the main show on it, then why should that be on it, sort of thing?
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Following on from that, Red Velvet versus Serena Deeb for the NWA Women's Championship. Deeb wins with the Serenity Lock. Thoughts and scores?
18 minutes, 12 seconds, boys.
Jesus
I
Christ.
timed this as well. Bless Deeb, knowing what wrestling looks like. Fucking great start. Some good cut shorting rope runs with kicks and strikes at the start. It felt like a fucking fight, and I love this. It stayed brutal in picture. It didn't slow down or become shit. I didn't notice the break.
They gave it everything, didn't they?
Yeah, man, fucking lovely pace. You had some great tired selling, some proper injury selling, fucking great submission spot, then right back into it with the knee submission. I don't have many notes. I just watched this. This was wicked. Velvet looked strong. Deeb still looks like this really good veteran. I gave it a high B, and I said I'd give it an A if it had a story, and it was, pretty much lacking in this. But I think I'm going to give it an A anyway. It was my match of the night. I thought this was fucking wicked, and showed what we should be seeing in a lot of the other women's matches, if you ask me. I thought, match of the night, great, more of this. Tony, more of this.
Definitely match of the night.
Go on.
I think this is almost payoff to giving Red Velvet something other to she having to jump onto that shitty Cody storyline, It's like, you do this, but we'll give you an NWA, championship match with someone that can wrestle to show off how fucking good you are, this was a great match. I have literally 3 notes, which were completely worthless. This is really good match, basically, because all I did was watch it. I gave a high B myself. I don't know. I felt like I wanted more from it. But it was 18 minutes, like you said. So I don't know. It was just really good.
I didn't have the story.
It
My
didn't
own
have
rules.
any story. Yeah, that's the problem.
I've got B plus written down. Let's see when Morg takes it.
Does the NWA Women's Championship actually need a story as it's the hired gun championship? That's my argument. I thought this match was fucking awesome. I really enjoyed this from start to finish. And I'm glad you noticed that as well, because I actually hadn't written that in my notes, but I remember commenting to the Raptor when we were watching it, that it hadn't slowed down. But we didn't even realise they'd gone to picture-in-picture until they said they were coming back from it. We just happened to catch the commentary. This is a women's match. Another thing is that the Raptor isn't always as big a fan of the women's matches as I am, and she was like, how good a match this was. This was really solid. I gave it an A. I really enjoyed it. This was my match of the night, by a long shot. And I don't think you need. I think the NWA Women's Championship is the one match, because it's not their championship. I think it's the one that we can give a pass to on the story, as long as you build it up.
I don't know. They're blatantly going to end up buying the NWA.
Suddenly on the show next week challenging Kenny Omega. You wouldn't want some sort of story going into that.
If it was the Impact one, but your story is built into the other side, and I think if it's and I specifically
Nick
say
Aldis is the NWA champion.
I specifically say the women's championship that they've got there, because they've got that as a thing that. I don't know how to sort of explain my words on this. I think it is acceptable.
It has been used as a connection more than other titles.
Yes.
That is true, but I still think they deserve the story, to build into it. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, I think the story that's building in,
it's not going to make that much of a difference.
No.
We've got a bank of seeds. It's all right.
It's still a
great
match.
Yeah, it was definitely between a high B and an A.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just glad.
Looking back on it, in my heart, it feels like an A. According to my rules, it's a B. I'll round it out when we come to the final maths letter calculation of science and wrestling.
Following on from that, Pac backstage promo.
God, look at it.
I just wrote down I like Scary Northerner. I don't even remember what he said, but I like him. Bless
he was being angry Geordie, which obviously, makes us Brits nervous.
Bless him. Yeah, good. More Pac all the time. Give him titles. Yeah. Let him win.
So from one angry Brit to another angry Brit.
Heckin' flag, boys.
Austin Gunn with Cody and Arn Anderson versus Anthony Ogogo with the Factory. Ogogo wins. I think it was by stoppage. I've put this as unranked, so I'm leaving it to you guys because I felt this was more segmenty.
It was more segmenty. Ogogo's music, pretty good. Quite liked it. It's important I mention the music. I enjoyed the westerny music. He's from the East, which any of you non-English listeners will know, will not know. That's a strange area of farm and countryside where people inbreed. We don't go to the East. I know two people who live in the east of the country. Everybody lives in the north, the south, the west country, the Midlands, or over there in weird farmy Ancestria. Not suggesting Anthony Ogogo is incestuous. Please don't come and punch me to death. Anyway, we got a brief great start from Austin before he had the shit kicked out of him. I quite liked the blood spray on the second punch. I thought that was pretty good. The only thing that really made me sort of pause through this is, as much as I can appreciate the gimmick of punching, do you guys remember T-Hawk from early Dark and such, like, who was with Serena?
Man, that had the most powerful chop ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, and his finisher was just putting you on. I don't know, I just remembered him, and it cost Ogogo a little something. Quite like his pop-up punch finisher, especially as it's a move QT does. So I think that's pretty cool. Then it just became a vector for USA versus UK. It did look like he was going to spit on the American flag, which sort of makes me laugh, because I suppose to an American, that's awful. If you saw somebody spit on the Union Jack over here, you'd be like, all right, it's a flag.
The flag, because they don't have the same kind of... The flag is very important to America, which is why it's really funny when they do things to the British flag over here and the audience just doesn't react. They go, oh, fair enough.
That's our hecking
Go on,
Union
Muir.
flag. How dare
It's a
they?
Union flag, not a jack. It's not at sea. It's not a jack if it's not at sea.
This day.
I didn't. I think I'd have enjoyed this more if it wasn't the obvious lead into Cody versus him as USA.
Cody winning. Yeah, it's just dull. It's dull 1980s booking.
Like, if it was just him coming out, getting his squash match, I think as a squash match, it would have worked pretty well. I think that I quite liked the blood spray. I thought it was all up his face and everything. I was like, that's kind of amused me. Quite like that. I quite like they're just slowly beating him to death. Austin getting a few more, taking a few more punches than your average person. I just don't care that it leads to Cody versus Okogo. I just don't care.
Issue with this. Yeah.
I'm going to repeat what I said last week. AEW, you're better than this.
Yes.
That is
America.
Fuck yeah. So, moving on. SCU backstage segment.
Lovely little bit with... Go on. Muir was going to start. I'll step back.
Sorry, mate. I'd love for Kaz just to destroy the Elite. I know that he won't, but just go on a one-man wrecking crew and destroy them all.
I reckon he might. I reckon we might get a proper vengeance tour from Kaz. Kaz has never quite had the big push he fucking deserves. He's a great wrestler.
Yes.
And I think Anderson versus Kaz would be one of the best, classic-looking wrestling matches we'd ever see. Anyway, good Kaz. The solid, quiet lead from Christopher Daniels at the start was really good.
Yep.
Solid Kazing with I'm going to hunt everyone out of you. Big 80s energy and a little bit dark as well. Really liked it. I'm giving it a B. Good stuff. More Kaz.
Yeah. If he does do this, I'd give it an A because I think that'd be ace if he just goes through them all. But I think it's not going to happen, so I'm giving it a B.
I don't think I can add anything. It was a really solid promo. I like the idea of Kaz being this sort of hitman after the Elite.
Just taking them out.
Raptor did say that she quite likes the idea of him teaming up, but not officially teaming up with Mox and Eddie. Sort of just
Los Ignorables.
Oh, do you think Kaz could do it? He's talented.
He's a punk. He's a punk rock musician who holds his own gigs and writes the theme tunes. I'm pretty sure, and has an attitude problem. Yeah,
big Metallica fan. Yeah, I think he'd fit in. So following on from that, we had Sammy with the cue cards. I thought it was fine. Good as always.
Didn't write anything.
Yeah, it was fine.
Welcome to my review.
It's not as good now he's a face because they're a lot more serious and they're not quite as much.
I've heard the sillier ones, but
yeah. Me and the Rap said this, but it's kind of cool. It's getting Sammy's character. Following on from that, we had the Miro in-ring promo, and then Lance Archer comes out.
Holy Warrior Miro, sent by God, apparently. Deus Vult.
Big can't wait for it to take out Byzantine.
Right, I've got to clarify something there because I often refer to wrestlers as blessed when they do something. And, I'll be like, oh, it's blessed this person. Is Lance becoming blessed? He's got better. He came out with his big smile on, with his violence. Yeah. And I think he helped Miro. I think Miro's better as a return than a serve, shall we say, on the promo games. When he was like, God and stuff. But, I don't know, it was all right. Filled the time, got the things over. I don't think now is the time for Lance to fight Miro, because I think it's going to compromise one of them.
Right.
I think
Lance has got better.
Unfortunately, I think the only safe outcome you can do to that match is a double count out, and a double count out is shit.
Yes, especially on
double disqualification. I think that's the problem. They have booked themselves into that corner again. And
they can have a DQ finish with retain from the DQ because that's how it not often works. It's lame. No, I'm with you, but they've booked it now, so I've got to figure out a way it's going to work.
Yeah, Unfortunately, yeah, that's my. I think you're right on. I think Miro is really good as a babyface, silly babyface promo, or he's good as a silly promo as a lead promo. I think you're right when he's being a badass. I think he's better on a return when he's being a monster.
Yeah, he's walking. I'm badass and I'm hard. Cool.
Yeah,
Well, nothing
I think
against the guy.
Yeah, I think you're right about Lance. Lance is just coming on better and better and better. Though it does look like his granddad's trying to stop him from getting into a fight.
No, no, Sean.
I don't think Jake's got many more years actually coming out to the ring left in him, if I'm honest.
All I've got to say,
go on.
If Miro, because you know he came out with a tank, right? Keep with me. He came out with a tank at one of the WrestleManias. So now he needs to come out on a Destria, like fully armored up and ready to take back Jerusalem.
Oh,
he's a warrior of God. I need him to take back Jerusalem. That's all I'm saying, boys.
If he pushes that gimmick, if we get a fucking Bulgarian Deus Volta gimmick, I'm involved.
I do want to say, really pleased that we finally got our monster tweener, face tweener. Yeah. Finally, we've got our guy that can stand up, so you can have that moment. And to be honest, I wanted it with Kenny. I wanted Kenny to be shooting his mouth off and going on about how awesome he is, and then you have Lance's music hits so that Kenny.
How you've turned around on Lance.
Oh yes.
That's another one. That's another one.
I think it was just too many of those squash matches I just got bored of, and now I'm really enjoying him as this. It's a monster tweener. Anyway, moving on. Don Callis commentary. We have the Varsity Blondes with Julia Hart versus the Young Bucks with Brandon Cutler for the Tag Team Championships. Bucks win with the Sharpshooter. At the end, Mox and Kingston come out to attack the Bucks, which I don't think was particularly big. What did you guys think of the match? What score did you give it?
I hate the Varsity Blondes music so much. I hate it.
That's fair.
Just gonna get there. Nick Jackson came out wearing his new hairline. That was nice. Anyway, on to the match. Great start for Griff. He got to look great. We got some good comedy. Nick Jackson's trip and fall on the rope was phenomenally done. And then when he got out and kicked the barrier, just wonderful. Remarkably slow for quite a lot of the match. Pillman just ate a lot of shit after that. I think it was probably the break or picture-in-picture. Should have learned from the women's match, shouldn't they?
Yeah.
Anyway, after that, fucking Pillman's eating the shit. He's going for the tag, and Griff's going full Kermit on that hot tag. His arms are all over the place. He's rocking everywhere, and he gets a great hot tag. Griff's in, bunch of different stuff. I still love his top over the ropes crossbody with the move of just going to jump over here. The Pillman super kick counter swing into his own super kick was great. The cold spray came out, and I was like, oh, you're not going to overuse this, are they? But they're actually really clever with it being thrown about and such like. And the match really picked up for the finish. Like, as much as it kind of went good, then they fucking escalated for that ending. It really elevated the Blondes. Like,
that's
really.
The main thing from this.
Yeah. Solid start, solid finish, bit of a slow middle. I'm giving it a B again, but it's not as good as the women's B, which is a borderline A. Yeah, good stuff. Elevate. It's what the Bucks do with young teams, and I'm enjoying the fact they're incorporating a bit more slapstick comedy and temper into their stuff.
I like how they get angry as heels. You know, if it's not going well, if it's not going exactly as they planned, they get fucking angry and just start kicking things and stuff like that. I think that's good heel portrayal. I like it a lot. Also, the biggest shout out for this match was Sung Soo reading his own audiobook.
Oh, yeah.
Red Caliber that made me fucking pissed.
Excalibur's little snipes are sometimes the best.
They're the best. He deserves to be on commentary with someone that can actually bounce with him. I feel so sorry for him. But yeah, this is a solid match. It's exactly what the Varsity Blondes needed if you want to build them up. The issue is that the tag division is very, very full. That's their main issue. But other than that, I think it's good. They've got a gimmick that can get over in America quite well. I think this was solid, and it was a low B from me. Yeah, if it was just a bit smoother, if there was just a bit more for me to care, I would have given it something higher. But yeah, that's how I feel from it.
Straight B. It was a great face versus heel match. I really like the Varsity Blondes as baby faces. Back to what you were saying earlier, I was saving it for this moment. I think they're probably one of the best face teams. They look like baby faces. They sell really well, and I hope they do stick with them being faces, and don't decide to go down a different route. I don't really have anything to add. Yeah, I gave it just a straight B. It was a good match, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, it was just good. It's kind of what we come to expect the Bucks being with the new tag team to do, if I'm honest.
My only
They'll give you a good match.
Go on. Sorry.
No, I've lost my point. Go, it wasn't important.
My only concern, which I was just thinking about this when you were talking about it, maybe it was a bit too early for the Varsity Blondes. Maybe they would have been the best up-and-coming young team to topple the Bucks. But maybe they need a bit more ring time yet.
Yeah, I think so. I think Griff needs a bit of polishing out.
Yeah.
Don't wonder who the next tag champs will be.
Yeah.
I've not thought about that. Oh, my head.
So there you are, Beaver Boys. So there you have it. That's our review of Dynamite. Mr. Strange, with the power of letter, maths, and science.
We're going to go on about Eddie stealing shoes at the end.
Oh, yes!
Oh, fuck, Eddie stealing the shoes at the end.
I didn't write it down. Eddie Kingston then proceeds to steal the Young Bucks' shoes, which was awesome.
That is continuity.
He did say steal shoes.
Don't know if you guys heard that, but the speaker just went off next to me and it scared the shit out of me.
Is that an Alexa by any chance?
No, it's a little Bluetooth speaker. I don't have listening devices in my house, Morg. I'm scared of technology. No, it's a little Bluetooth speaker because my headphones are broke. Yeah, all right, sorry. Yeah, no. What were we saying? Where were we?
Continuity of Eddie stealing shoes.
Oh, yeah, no, it was not even the previous one, but they're like, you've always got to steal shoes. I thought that was brilliant, and it's going on to my ranking at the end. Yeah.
So, power of letter maths.
Well, we had a couple of slow, clumsy bit we didn't need, a lot of good shit, like good, and a couple of very good things, but they just didn't quite polish it up. Yeah, it was a good match. We've got a solid C in set of rankings, plus one old boy's joke and 4 shoes stolen. Good week. I enjoyed it.
Now, something to try and remember for next week, so I'm going to comment on this now. We commented on this last time. Yeah. So, next week's Dynamite, by our usual feeling, won't be very good. Because they don't do very good Dynamites before they do a pay-per-view.
That is correct. They normally fail.
We've got to try and remember to see next week what we think and if they continue that trend. Because I don't think it was until the last one where we all sort of went, oh, yeah, it's true, actually. So, moving on. Yeah. What did you think of Dark? What did you think of Dynamite? What did you think of BTE? What did you think of Elevation? You can tell us what it was like. I did try to watch it. I tried.
Nightmarish.
I really tried.
Now you know my pain.
Oh, I do. Yeah, if you want to send us questions, you want to give us things to discuss, give us matches to review, anything else, wrestleopinionated@gmail.com, WrestleOP on Facebook, WrestleOP1 on Twitter. So, this week, we've got a segment-ish. We've got a pay-per-view. We've got a pay-per-view coming up this weekend. Now, obviously, we're going to probably do a show just before the pay-per-view. But I thought this would be the time for us to discuss Double or Nothing, our thoughts on the matches, maybe give some ideas of who we think's going to win.
I've got to maintain my winning record on predicting 90% of things correctly. Not quite everything.
So I've pulled up a page which has got the current match card. Some of these are subject to change.
Expectations wrong.
We'll start at the bottom and work our way up with this list from CBS Sports. Starting off, AEW Tag Team Championship, Young Bucks champions versus Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston. What do you guys think about the build up to this, and who do you think's going to win?
I think they've kind of been rushed up the tables, if I'm honest. Like, they only started getting together, and suddenly, I don't know, there's always going to be something which winds me up about top singles people suddenly being in a tag team and just rising to the top of it.
Yeah.
I don't hate it because of how they've done it with the story, though. Like, it seems to have worked. And this is a hard one to call who's going to win this one.
They
Surely
don't
it's going to be the...
feel like it's the WWE thing where they just currently chuck the two people together. They feel like the two mates that are finally coming together as a team. And they are specifically just going after the Elite.
Oh, the Bucks can't lose the belts yet.
Moxley's got to go away to have a kid soon. He's not winning the belt.
Oh, good point.
Yeah,
good point. So Bucks with
I think
shenanigans.
we're Bucks across the board on this one.
But either way, it should be a good one. I hope their stars gel.
Yeah.
This is one of those ones that could be a match of the night contender. Next up, Sting and Darby Allin versus Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. Mr. Muir, do you want to go first on your thoughts on this?
Yeah, sadly, it's going to be Sting and Darby, I feel. Because I feel like Ethan Page and those lots should win, because it'd be the better storyline, but I can't see it. But maybe they'll actually play the story properly and have Sting be the weak point for Darby and actually do it that way, which is how I'd book it, but I see them just booking Sting and Darby strong. So that's what I'm going with.
Yeah, sadly, they've built up Ethan Page as they've made them too heely, too quicky, so we've got an automatic good vengeance story. And if the Bucks are winning, we're going to want some babyface winnings, so yeah. Well, I don't think we needed this match. It'll probably be all right. Sting and Darby as a tag team, crazy. Maybe they'll take on the Bucks next. Yeah, it should be good. It'll be interesting, and I always watch a match where a man might die in the ring, but I think I'm going to go with Sting and Darby as well. There's always one that blows my expectations, though.
I don't think Sting's going to lose, and I don't think that's necessarily through his choice. I think other people book. He does have the stroke to be able to turn around and go, no, we should lose this match, and Darby can eat the pin. Yeah, I like the fact that they're trying to follow on from the independence, from the Evolve rivalry that Darby and Ethan Page have. I think Ethan Page, I think it needed to be a solo thing, but they needed a way to counteract Sting. It could be a good match. We will see. As long as Seth Rollins doesn't turn up and buckle bomb Sting, we should be all right.
I'm here to finish the job, Sting. No, Seth. Tyler Black.
Next on.
Saved him.
Go on, Muir.
I said Chucky T saves him from Tyler Black.
That is what would happen. He is much fitter and far more attractive than Tyler Black. Sorry, carry on.
Inner Circle versus the Pinnacle in a stadium stampede, with a stipulation that if the Inner Circle lose, they have to split up.
Inner Circle win. It should be great. Having one team playing the straight man to the comedy team. I have faith. After what they did last year, there's no way they're going to fuck up this.
True.
Inner Circle have to win. They can't break up after their sort of face comeback.
It could be. It could. This is the question: is it the right time to break them up? They've been around for a long time, and it would give the Pinnacle that there's a lot of crowing rights. And we broke up the Inner Circle.
I mean, it'd be the right thing to do story-wise. But
I don't know if Hager could survive the Inner Circle breakup.
I mean, unless they lose, just break up the Inner Circle and then just found a new friendship group, which would be Max Brain story time. I'd love.
That would be hilarious.
We're not the Inner Circle anymore. We're now this group.
With the inner hexagon.
Yeah, some shit like that.
Oh, that'd be. I'm concerned because of the Pinnacle saying, "Oh, this won't be the silly fest it was last year. This will be a fight." it better be the Silly Fest cinematic match it was
It
last
will
year.
be.
Because if it's not, you guys are about to fail.
You don't give your heel faction a comedy leader like MJF and not have those comedy moments. There'll be some stuff for Wardlow, some stuff for the old boys. Maybe it'll go 1950s and they can fall into a Southpaw regional wrestling style place or
Hey,
something.
that'd be
That'd be
amazing.
fucking great.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Okay. Yeah. Again, if it's anything like last, if it's like last year, it's going to get an S. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Following on from that, TNT Championship, Miro versus Lance Archer. Feels a bit dropped on us. And as we said earlier, not sure if you should have maybe held Lance back for later. I predict Miro's going to win because I don't see him dropping the belt yet. Unless they want a face champion for the TNT. But I don't know.
Why are you defending the TV title on a pay-per-view, for one thing, and also not going to be Miro dropping the belt? That'd be stupid. You've just built him up.
Well, you can do this now, Muir, because in about 3 months, the TNT belt is going to be rendered completely useless because it'll be the TBS belt.
Or finally,
It'll be a
belt.
It'll be a Miro win via some kind of shenanigans. It'll be a Dusty booked. In fact, I'm writing this down on my predictions. It's a Dusty booked Miro win. Cody will be there rubbing his hands together and something will happen, like an army of clowns will fall from the ceiling to distract Lance.
Oh, God.
Okay.
Whilst Miro tapes him to the back of a truck and it's driven out into town for a count out.
So, 2 questions for this next part. So we've got the Casino Battle
Ooh.
Royale. Christian
Oh,
Cage,
God.
Matt Sydal, Powerhouse Hobbs, Pentarel Zero, Miedo, Jungle Boy, Matt Hardy, Mark Quinn, Isaac Cassidy, The Blade, Evil Uno, Colt Cabana, Preston Vance, Griff Garrison, Brian Pillman Jr., Max Caster, Anthony Bowens, QT Marshall, Nick Comarato, Dustin Rhodes, Lee Johnson versus To Be Arranged. So the 2 questions: who's the To Be Arranged, and who do you think's winning overall?
It's an unfair fight, all those guys versus To Be Arranged, but you know.
To Be Arranged is going to be Big Show as Captain Insano from The Waterboy. You fucking write this down. You watch me. You watch me. That's who it's going to be. I will put money on this.
Why?
Why will I put money on it, or why will it be this?
No, why would you put money on this?
Because AEW were at least looking into the legal ownership of the Captain Insano gimmick about 2 months ago, and Big Show is the ring announcer for it. And we've had Billy Gunn jumping from the crowd in them before.
I mean, I can't argue with you. It's a great idea.
Yeah, fucking right down. And I think Cage will win. Christian Cage.
Oh, yeah. Got you.
He's going to do the work. He's going to go for the title, and Miro's going to fucking eat him alive or something.
Christian Cage and who to come in?
If Daniel Bryan shows up, I'll shit my pants. Nick Jackson flees the building.
Just start beating them up on the stage. It could be Daniel Bryan. I highly doubt it, though. These have always disappointed me. Always. So
the Cage one was great.
The Cage one was good. Sorry, I disregard that.
That wasn't a Casino Battle Royal, to be fair, though.
Was it not? You had to get a chip off the thing.
Sydal, and he's going to botch as the entrance. No, who could it be? I should have thought of this.
Velveteen Dream. Chased with a stick. Get away from them kids.
Vito Naito. That's not going to be
Mate, if Naito fucking showed up.
No, I'm not sure who it could be, actually. Give me 5 minutes. You go for yours, Morg.
So it's not going to be a Bryan or a Punk or somebody like that, because if you're getting them, you're either making them they're coming down in the main event, or they're turning up with a lot of fanfare and a lot of leak on the internet. because
Yeah,
you want to
fair.
be grabbing the lapsed fans in the same of Punk or the WWC fans with Bryan. Though I think the kind of people who are going to cheer at Daniel Bryan turning up probably already watch AEW and WC, to be fair.
Yeah, fair.
I've got a horrible feeling it's going to be Big Show. I don't know if it's going to be his Captain Insano, but I have a horrible feeling it's going to be Big Show, and I have a horrible feeling he's going to win it. I really hope that's not the
now
case.
I'm thinking about it. Oh, God, I hate you two. Why, you're right.
All right, so you're going with Big Show, and Big Show wins. Oh,
No, I'm going with Christian. I'm going with Christian Cage wins, but I have a horrible, horrible. I think I will get to do I fucking said it'd happen.
I'm going with Daniel Bryan just because I think it'd be cool if it would happen. Fuck it, I don't care if I lose.
The American Dragon. Oh!
I also. It could be Christopher Daniels as Curry, man.
Oh, that'd be fucking great.
That would be amazing. Right, let's move on because we can book this. The other one I was thinking of though was Andrade.
Andrade.
Oh, true.
If it wasn't for the rumors we've heard, but that could be bullshit rumors because
he's already booked in versus Kenny Omega, so you know.
Yeah, that was the other one that I was thinking. That was his more sensible one. Hangman Adam Page. Try that again. Adam Hangman Page versus Brian Cage. What do you guys think of the setup, and what do you guys think? Who do you think is going to win?
I think the setup is good. I think it will be a good match. I think Cage can afford to have the loss he's going to get, because Cage has actually had a couple of losses in tags and things, and I don't think it will hurt him. I think there might be a shade of dusty booking, and I think obviously the Dark Order will be involved and Team Taz will be involved. This might lead to our Cage leaving Team Taz thing if he tries to fight him solidly one-on-one, and then Team Taz interrupts in the other way, because we've had the hints of split. But I think this loss would hurt Hangman more than it would Cage.
It has to be Hangman winning, and it's going to be shenanigans by Team Taz causing Cage to go, I'm fucking done with you lot, and leaving as a face by the end of this after losing.
Yeah, exactly that.
Mm-hmm.
Morg, are we all in agreement?
Yes. I think I'm not sure whether Hangman should win. I think the opposite. I don't think it hurts to lose against a monster like Cage. I think he's going to win, and the problem is that Hangman is your top babyface. He's currently just not in the top card as your top babyface.
That's the problem. They keep clicking it. He keeps getting clipped when he's almost there.
But
he's got to rise up.
I think he's got to, because I think that's the story for him, so that when he does get up there,
back-to-back losses against someone though.
I know, but Cage is a monster. But,
I get you, but you can't.
But as I say, I think Hangman will win. I'm going to totally steal you two's idea. I think it's a brilliant idea for how Cage leaves Team Taz. I think that is awesome.
Yeah.
They interfere, and maybe they interfere and cost him the match. Would be even better.
Yeah, it could go either way. Or he'll be winning and you'll see he got the unfair advantage and refuse to take the pin or the because of how much he was called out by Hammer.
Full on babyface turn. Ooh, interesting.
Or at least an honor turn, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So next, you two are going to be happy with this one. Cody Rhodes versus Anthony Ogogo. Cody Rhodes wins.
And he's going to raise that American flag and wave it afterwards.
If they've got... I always get one wrong, and I like to predict the one I'm least confident on. And currently it's the Stadium Stampede, because Jericho's in a genius who can save anything. This match, because they've made it England versus America, Cody has to win. If Cody doesn't win... I think that would be the cleverest switch, if you know what I mean. That would be the one which would blow the paradigm out of my mind.
Yes, I agree with you.
The most. But the thing is, I've seen Cody have this match several times now, and Cody has good matches, but we saw him, he's up against the unstoppable Wardlow. Oh, he's up against the unstoppable Lance. He has these matches where he fights unstoppable person who eats alive some of his minions, and then he wins, and
that's what he does.
I really, 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 really don't want it to be Cody, but I am so sure that it is that I'm making myself unsure.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
It does make sense. You're so confident in yourself that you're doubting it. Yeah.
I think you're right.
It's got to be Cody.
If Cody wins AEW, you're better than this.
USA.
So my problem with this overall is something that we've said before. Cody is one of the best babyface promos they've got for an out-and-out babyface promo. I think one of the things they have actually made a rod for their own back here is Cody's thing where he's not allowed to challenge for the World Championship, which I see as being quite a cool thing with him being one of the EVPs.
Give it time.
I don't get to give myself the belt until I'm a heel. The problem is, Cody's probably your best next challenger for Kenny. If I'm being honest, as a massive babyface to actually go up against such a shitty heel as Kenny is being at the minute, that I think they've made a rod for their own back, and they're actually stuck with having to do this. And really, Cody should be putting over the Factory, but he's going to win because they've made it a jingoistic.
This heel group is split from my own group.
Yeah.
No.
And I must a jingoistic piece of bullshit. It'll probably be a B match.
It's the Nightmare People.
It'll probably be a Cody Rhodes B match. We'll probably come to it when we do the review and go, well, that was actually really good. I didn't expect it to be that good, but we're downgrading it because of Cody winning, even though we all predicted it.
Yeah, like he always has solid to good matches. Like we've always been like, Cody's knocks out solid B matches.
Yeah, but it's boring.
The
I don't need USA versus
USA.
So lame.
Okay. This is a hard one to call. AEW Women's Championship: Hikaru Shida versus Dr. Britt Baker, DMD.
Britt Baker to win with shenanigans.
Britt.
Yeah. What, you don't think Hikaru Shida's going to?
No.
I think Britt might win with low to no shenanigans.
You think she's just going to win clean? Okay. She's definitely winning.
I think she might. Or minimum shenanigans. Maybe some hardcore stuff on the outside of the ring, but not quite so ludicrous as a bunch of other things. She's definitely winning, 100%.
Yeah.
It's time for a heel women's champion.
I think it's time for all heel champions, which is what we will have.
Yeah. Good point.
Which is actually heel champions are better, especially as you're leading up. And finally, the AEW World Championship: Kenny Omega versus Orange Cassidy versus Pac. Who's winning? And what do you think to the
Orange Cassidy? Nah, joking. It's Kenny. It's Kenny. This match should be great as long as nobody gets knocked out. Obviously, I get the feeling this is going to have a lot more Big Japan energy than people are prepared for. It's going to be very silly. I hope Pac can deal with the level of silliness, as we know he's a very serious wrestler, but he's been shown to work with silly before and pull it off okay without breaking his character.
He did one of the best matches with Orange Cassidy. That first Orange Cassidy match he had was fucking great, where he was playing the straight man. My issue with
I think this is going to show us the difference between... Oh, go on.
Who's taking the pin? Is it Pac or Orange Cassidy? Because I don't think they want to pin Orange Cassidy, so I think it's going to be Pac.
I think you can safely pin Cassidy, actually.
You think?
I think you'll pin both.
Pin both? What, like
pin.
Big Dog?
Oh, no, Roman did that recently, didn't he? You can't do that, no.
Yeah.
And also, technically, it's whoever was second on the pin would win the belt, because they were pinning the person to the mat, so, you know.
This match will suffer from Kenny energy, which isn't as bad as suffering from Dusty finish, as opposed to a Dusty finish of supreme bollocks. We'll get bollocks in this, but it'll be the more comedy Japanese style of it.
Yeah.
Kenny can't drop the titles yet. This is making money and unifying the wrestling world hilariously. I think Orange Cassidy has to eat the pin, and I don't think he minds because he's too much of an indie man.
Yeah, he'll happily eat the pin versus Kenny Omega and Pac. You know, I'm not doubting it. I just think they like to protect Orange very much. You know, because he's one of their top baby faces. So you know,
I think Orange is in the safe zone. Personally, I think he's actually, because of his character. He takes a shitload of punishment. He can take a kicking from both of them and get the pin after taking an absolute shit kicking from both of them. And I think it's very difficult to actually hurt Orange Cassidy's character with loss.
Doesn't care.
The matches against Jericho, if he hadn't beaten Jericho, that would have hurt him. But I think this match, I don't think. And you've got the added advantage of he's going into this after having had that injury, which is actually weirdly protects him. Remember when we did the discussion about sometimes injuries
Oh
yeah,
good.
It kind of protects Cassidy as long as I'm guessing he will have been cleared and he's fine to wrestle.
Hopefully, yeah.
But yeah, so there you have it. That's our thoughts on Double or Nothing. Watch along. We may or may not be on Discord watching it. I'd like to thank Anchor.fm for hosting the podcast. You can find us as Wrestleopinionated on YouTube, Spotify, and Anchor.fm. Over to you, Mr. Muir.
Thank you very much for listening. It's going to be great when Mayu comes out to challenge Dr. Britt Baker for the belt straight after the match and then wins it instantly because she's far better. If you'd like to send any questions into wrestleopinionated@gmail.com, WrestleOP on Facebook, or WrestleOP1 on Twitter. Over to you, Strange.
I'm just going to take us on a little side trip here for a moment. As we've been doing this podcast, I've just looked up a letter that my partner is looking to send out that's being sent off to one Stu Sizer. But I didn't realise Stu was a name at the start, so I was just thinking of a man eating a big stew. But then I thought it sounded a bit like Scott Steiner. So yeah, sorry about that, boys. Anyway, thank you if you enjoy listening to me talk. Thanks, Strange. He's here. Have you enjoyed listening to me talk about Stu Sizer and other strange things? Do you enjoy what we've done? Have you made it this far in the podcast? Why not give us a little like, a little share, a little subscribe? Send us to your other wrestling mates. If you're here from the lovely Spooky Ruthie, who shares our posts whilst much fabulous art, thank you very much. But yeah, like, share, subscribe, whatever the buttons are on Amazon and Spotify. There's a bell now. Please click all these things. It helps us, and that means we're more likely to help you. Thank you. And back to you, Morg.
All that's left to be said is, Muir, I really like your plan for Mayo to come out. Goodbye and good night.